Hello everyone. My name is Baruch and I am a 28-year-old English teacher who has started learning game development last year. Um, I have worked on a few medium-sized projects. I have worked mostly as a level designer, um, but lately I have this I have had this urge to develop my own game and my own scenes to try and learn the process and to create something. I like recently started having this craving to create something that belongs to me. And so I started trying to make games. Um, Here I have made a very nice low poly pixelized scene in Unity. I can show you the scene itself. It's not pixelized when I'm in the scene view, and I'll talk about that later. But I have played a very beautiful game this last year in 2025, and it was called Easy Delivery Co. And I loved it a lot. Like I loved everything about it. All like the aesthetics, the snowy area, the car driving, the sounds, the characters. It was lovely. And if you don't know, you should probably play that. Um, But what that game made me do, most importantly, is that it made me want to create. So I created this level, a very, very small view, a gas station. I created the level, I modeled everything that you see on the screen. I added the particle system, which is available in Unity and in any engine, probably. Um, I'm going to, in short, talk about how I made these because I'm not good at modeling or like I'm not a professional at anything. I'm like beginner at everything. The modeling, the scripting, and the Unity, I have some knowledge because of the headaches that I had past year. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna talk in general what you can do and what you can learn to recreate this kind of thing if that's like up your alley. So yeah, we can begin. The first part of creating is deciding what you want to create. When I played Easy Delivery Co., and let me show you the trailer video in the background. When I played Easy Delivery Co., I loved everything about it. I love the style, I love the controls, I love the simple yet very nice and fun gameplay loop that it has. It's a low poly, snowy world, and you are basically a cargo driver. And you drive around cargo, and you get money, and you unlock new maps, all that stuff. Awesome game. Absolutely, absolutely delicious. So, before trying to create something super original, I said, I love this and I want to create something similar to this. So I made a plan in my mind. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to have a scene where it is going to be mostly white. It's going to be snowy. I want some snow effects. I want it to be a low poly game, a very, very basic graphics. I want a car, naturally. And that's pretty much it. And just the basic environment like hills, trees, all that stuff. So that is my goal out of the way. It is very important that you keep your vision very simple because I am currently trying to make a uh, tower defense slash base builder game called Cat Caravans, where you are playing as a clan of cats and you are trying to create a base and you're trying to defend it and you're trying to expand it, build things, expand your base, defeat your enemies, blah blah blah. You know, I got kind of inspired from this game, a very well-known game called Kingdom. And let me tell you, it was not easy. It was not easy. It's still not easy because it's still not finished. I thought it would be easy. When you're trying to make your first game, you probably think it's gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. So whatever simple thing that you're thinking of, make it 5 times simpler for your own sake. Let me tell you why it's not easy. Because, just like talking vaguely is not enough, I think. Because I had very little knowledge of scripting and coding when I started Cat Caravans, and I had to relearn a lot of things. I had to delete and rewrite all of my code because you need a system to build stuff. You need a system for the time, the NPCs, how they interact with you, how they interact with each other. All this like things, all these small things that are like different systems from each other, and they need to work together flawlessly in order for the whole game to work, in order for it to not be a mess. So yeah. We started almost a year ago on Cat Caravans, and we're still working on it, and it's a big headache. So back to the topic. Think about a simple thing. Simple doesn't mean bad. Simple things can be very good, and they can be masterpieces. Easy Delivery Co. is a masterpiece of a game. It's very simple, yes. It has these little details that make it not so simple and very fun to play, yes. It's a super fun game. It it does what it promises you. When you get into it, you know what you're gonna get. You get more. You're happy. Everyone's happy. That's why the game has very good ratings on Steam because it's simple and effective. But yeah, keep it simple. Don't make the mistake that I made and many other people made. Now, when you decide to make your own scene and to make your own low poly world, obviously you're going to have to start learning how to model stuff. Now, the great thing about low poly is that, you know, self-explanatory, but it is low poly, which means it is not, greatly detailed. You don't have to, put yourself under too much stress as to what to create, as or to how to create stuff. And it's like more a low budget, beginner friendly kind of style, which still looks, very nice, which still has its, like takers, like people still like it. It's good that there's a style that, that is like low maintenance and still, good to look at. It makes it more beginner friendly, like me. I started with Blender. I started some, very popular tutorials, and like the tutorial with how to make a donut or whatever. I started with that, but that kind of goes into more modeling and not so much as modeling for game development, which has like a very clear um difference, you'll see. So I looked around. A friend of mine recommended me a low poly character series from a YouTube channel called Crasune. Crasune. I hope I'm not, butchering the name. Uh, it's very good. It's very good. It The guy is very friendly. He has this like very soft explaining of things, I think even has a separate tutorial on how to make you get used to Blender controls. Sorry. I started with that. Then, I decided I need to fool around a bit. The best way to learn something is to make something yourself and make a lot of mistakes. You need to make a lot of mistakes. You need to go a little crazy over it. Anyway, I watched this guy's tutorial videos and I tried to make my own little low poly characters. Now these characters are very well known, obviously. That's the Hollow Knight or the Knight. That is Hornet, and that is Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. You know, I finished Crash Soon's tutorial. That's about like 4 hours long in total. And watching tutorials is nice, but it is like a pit. It is like a bottomless pit. You watch some tutorials and like you may like expect yourself to, oh, okay, like do I know everything now? And then you open up the program and you realize you don't actually know nothing. So you think, oh, okay, I gotta watch some more tutorials. Maybe that will, fix my problem. No, that's not gonna fix your problem. What's gonna fix your problem is that you need to open up the program, whatever it is, on your own and fail miserably. That is going to fix your problem. You have to hurt your own ego a little bit or a lot in order to actually do this. Now, my characters, these are the things that I modeled. They are not perfect. If you think they look cute, thank you. But they're not perfect at all. But they don't have to be. That's the great part. They don't have to be. That's just my style, and maybe my style will get better over time. But anyway, I started with Blender. Let me put Blender on the screen. I started with Blender, but I was, it's like kind of searching if I can find a, nice alternative. And I actually did. I did found Blockbench. Now, Blockbench made, I think, to make Minecraft models. So it's like it has this like very blocky style. You cannot make something super, detailed, super HD. No, like whatever you're gonna do is gonna be blocky. So it's more like a right tools for the job kind of situation. If I want to make a low poly game where many things, like basically everything, is very simple geometry, and I want, blocky things like a blocky car, or wait, if I can show you. Like if I want a blocky car, or I want like a blocky gas station here, or if I like want a blocky gas station store, then I don't need this, super large, Blender stuff. I can just do it here. This program has a Blender control layout option, so you can just switch to that. Yeah, so like you will feel at home immediately. It was very easy to control. I watched like a simple video on how to make a car in Blockbench, and I made this car from that YouTube video, and from there, it was very easy. Why I decided to make it here is not, not only the fact that I need blocky objects, so I chose the blocky model software. The painting is actually much more simpler. You just click the paint tab and you can just paint stuff. Now, I don't know if you can do this on Blender. Like there's all this like UV stuff, which I tried when I was doing the Crassoons tutorial, but it kind of seemed complicated, and I don't need it to be that complicated. Or I mean, in here I can just make a blocky object and then just paint over it, and it works. I mean, it worked for me. Now, after watching some tutorials and learning how to use Blockbench and then modeling simple stuff by myself, Like I modeled these gas stations, I modeled this little fridge, I modeled this like little, uh, no, like things. Sorry, I can't really remember the word. And this like little counter. And then I modeled this little gas station. It has like little gas things over here. It has like this, like the roof, the columns, all that stuff. And then I modeled these little trees. Like, look at this. It's actually so simple. Yet, when you look at this in the game view, I mean, it's all that it needs to be, right? It doesn't have to be like super specific. It's just a little triangle here, and then three cones on top of each other. That's it. You can say, it looks like shit, but I mean, hey, man, it's a simple look, and it gets the job done. Anyway, I throw these into my Unity, like ready to use. And after that, I have decided to use the terrain system to build a terrain, like all these grounds. Now you can use, I think, Unity's terrain system just fine, and that's what I did. Again, it doesn't have to be, super, like on point, accurate. It's a low poly game. It just needs simple stuff. And I have found a very nice uh way to create textures on Blender. I have used Blender to create this snowy texture on my terrain. Normally it's all gray when you first create it. And I'm going to put in the description. But I'm just, telling you the steps. I have created this terrain. I have created a texture for my terrain. And then I needed a road. And so what I did for that, I actually went and checked the Easy Delivery Co's Discord channel and checked the messages of the developer of that game. And he said that he used an asset called Easy Roads. I'm going to put the link to that asset in the description too. Set up a road, and when you set it up and you click the finish button, it makes the road. You can modify its texture, and it's the nice thing that it does, it carves the Unity's terrain for you. So you can see here that this place was, like it was connected. Yet when I put the road under the ground, it kind of like carved the terrain for me. So it was very simple to use. That's very good. There's a little bug here, it seems. Maybe that's something with my camera, but yeah. Then what I did is that, of course, a snowy area needs a little snow. So the best way to achieve that is the particle system. Once again, I did not really start by knowing what everything does. Now, I have maybe used particle systems once or twice. Particle system lets you create. It's a built-in Unity uh, asset. Particle system lets you create any particle in any direction, in any like speed, in any shape. You know, yeah. But again, don't let it scare you because it has like so many options. Once again, thank God for all the very generous developers you can find on the internet. Honestly, I just wrote how can I make a snow particle in Unity and just clicked on like the first video. I'm going to link that video too if you want to replicate it. And I achieved this very cute snowy effect. Like look at this. It looks so cool. Sorry, not sounds. Yeah. I mean, it helped me achieve what I wanted to achieve. So, yeah. Now, when everything's said and done, to get the pixelated look, I found there are more than one way, as with everything, to achieve this. But the solution that I found, and the solution that was actually used in other games, was to downscale and upscale. Downscale, then upscale. Every the the image of the screen. This is like a whole bunch of text stuff. Basically, like you take a render of the screen, and in the background you downsize it, then you upsize it. I mean, for the player, it's still, one like 1922 180p, but it's actually like the quarter of that rendered and upscaled, like stretched. And let me explain you in very simple example. So here I have an image, an artistic image from my favorite game, Final Fantasy IX. And in this image, if you zoom in, you can see it's like very hand drawn, and like the pixels are very small, right? I mean, of course, everything is pixelated, but it's a hand drawn, digitally drawn, maybe whatever. How this works, how you can make it more pixelated, is that if I select my image here, and if I downsize it to a quarter, because the quarter is the size of the render that we take in Unity to get this pixelated effect here. Like the game looks like this, while the scene looks like this, while the game looks like this. After downsizing it, we upscale it again to full screen. So I select the image again, I stretch it, and then you can see, compared to before, that the images are much more pixelated, right? Yeah, so this is before and this is after. Let me zoom in. All these are hand drawn, you can clearly see. And after I downsize it to a quarter and then stretch it back up, it becomes very pixelated. So that is what is happening. So that's basically how it works. Again, I'm going to drop a tutorial, the tutorial that I have followed to achieve this effect. You may just say, okay, in the scene, I mean, the clean low poly look also looks good, which you might be right. And I think it's like an artistic choice. It's not like, object. Wanted to go for a pixelated look, and that's how I achieved that pixelated look. In any case, I'm going to drop the link of the tutorial that I followed, and that's pretty much it. Uh, I know I'm very bad at talking, but if you watched all the way, thank you. And maybe I'll make another video after I actually implement some gameplay and scripts. But yeah, this was just kind of a video on how I got all of these scenes together. I'm sorry I didn't really go into too much depth as to how to actually make them, because if I did that, I guess the video would last an hour, and the answers to these questions already exists. That's why I haven't able to do it in the first place. But I'm going to link all of them in the description. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.